Okay, I want to talk to you about soil health. I know that doesn't sound exciting, but I'm telling you, it's kind of the most amazing thing that is happening under our feet, and we don't even know about it unless we know about it. So let's find out. Okay, so here's what's happened. In the ground, you have trillions of insects, bacteria, fungi, nematodes, arthropods. I mean, there's so many things in the ground, it's kind of ridiculous. And what they do is they take elements, molecules, things that plants need, and they eat them. And then somebody else eats them. And they poop it out. And they make the nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium available to plants. So let's start at the beginning of a plant life cycle. So a seed grows, it develops roots, right? The roots go down into the ground, the shoot, the plant part, comes up into the atmosphere. The roots are very important to the plant because obviously they bring water to the plant. They also help to bring the nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium that the plant needs to survive. But the shoot part of it is really important as well because it does something amazing, something that is just, I mean, it drives our entire world. It's called photosynthesis. We should all remember this from our biology class. But the chlorophyll in the plants is capable of taking carbon and oxygen and combining it inside the process of photosynthesis and creating food, starches, carbons, sugars. And that food that the plant creates on its own, it feeds itself, but then it does something really important and really exciting. It takes whatever's left over and it puts it down into the roots and it feeds the microbiology that's actually in the ground. So the plants are primarily feeding themselves, and secondarily, they're feeding what's in the ground. They're feeding fungus, bacteria, arthropods, insects, all sorts of animals that we can't even see, and there's trillions of them in the ground. So as we're walking across herds of herbivores and carnivores and omnivores, and they're all performing some sort of function, kind of like the animals do, the wild animals do on the surface of the ground. So let's go back to what the plants are doing. They're creating photosynthesis, or they're going through the process of photosynthesis to create energy, to create starch and carbon. And they're taking that carbon and they're putting it out into their roots and excreting it. And it's feeding the rest of the soil biology. And what's there is mycorrhizal fungi connects the roots of one plant to all the other roots that are in that ecosystem. So for example, in our ecosystem here, we have oak trees, we have all sorts of different kinds of grasses, we've got lots of weeds, but that's part of it. So basically our oak trees, they're connected to our grasses, and our grasses are connected to the bushes, and the whole thing is this big giant ecosystem. And our animals provide a very important part of the ecosystem in that we are grazing them in a way that builds soil health. So you've got the plant. It's going through photosynthesis. It's putting exudates into the ground, and the soil biology is eating those exudates, and in turn is providing micronutrients back to the plant. So there's this exchange. There's like an economy going on down underneath the ground. So it's very important that we don't till up the ground. It's very important that we don't compact the ground, and it's very important that we don't overgraze the plants that are on top of the ground, because if we overgraze them, their root systems will shrink and die, and they won't be able to feed the soil biology, and therefore they won't be able to in turn feed our animals. So there is a handshake going on between what's eating on the surface and what's eating underneath. And I have come to learn that I'm not a cow farmer. I'm not a goat farmer. I'm a carbon farmer. So what I'm doing is taking, through photosynthesis, I'm allowing the grasses to create carbon, put it into the ground to feed all of the micronutrient or the microbiology that's in the ground. And then in turn, my grasses are going to be amazing. They're going to grow and they're going to give all the nutrients that my animals need so that we don't have to take them to a feedlot. And we're going to be able to finish them here on the grasses, on the ranch, which will be much better in terms of health quality. Their meat will be a lot cleaner, a lot leaner, and the fat that they do have is going to come from the grass, not grain, which makes the fat that you're eating much more healthy for you. So there is a lot going on here, and we're going to be doing some testing on the soil. So we'll have soil testing coming through. It's my hypothesis that because the previous owner allowed his cattle to just range freely on the land, the 40 acres, we don't have good soil health at this moment. We're going to do what it takes to get it back, or to get it to a place where it's going to be able to grow enough forage for the animals to eat year round. Right now we're feeding them and we don't want to do that anymore. We got about an inch of rain a couple weeks ago and we are still beautiful green. Behind me you're seeing irrigated pasture, but around the rest of the property, if I turn around to where we're not irrigating, out there by the trailer, it's still green. So we had some good rain. Hopefully this season we will have more good rain. But we're getting to a point where we have a product. Our bull calf will be finished soon, probably in the spring, and then we'll have something to share with the community, which will be very exciting. And then we just need more animals. Because we're doing rotational grazing, I believe that we are understocked. We do not have enough animals to provide the right kind of manure, urine, and animal impact. We don't have enough. We will eventually. We're breeding goats. Babies are coming. We have to be patient. We have to use the animals that we do have, which is fine, and get this whole thing on the road. We were able to get our bull calf banded this morning. That took a little bit of effort. Actually, it went quite well. And now the calves are all put away. And now I'm going to go around and start marking off our many pastures that we're going to kind of build. It's not a permanent build. We're going to use T posts so they can be taken out. I don't want to do anything permanent just yet. I'm not exactly sure how we're going to be doing this. We're going to try it this year with temporary and electric fencing, and then next year we'll maybe build one permanent fence or something like that. And then hopefully we can use our animals to get the best out of these beautiful grasses that are growing and feed the soil biology at the same time. It's very exciting. To me, I kind of geek out on it.